Starting our day off right certainly leads to great things later on today. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit more. Let's get grounded and let's make connections today. And let's start the day off inspired. I'd like to welcome to the stage Janne Robinson.
Hello, hello. Good morning. How are we feeling? Are we awake? A little bit? Nice. So I want to wake us up a little bit. Could you turn to somebody around you that you maybe have not yet know or have said good morning to and take 10 seconds to tell them where you're from? Go. And now I want you to turn to, all right, all right, all right. Please turn to somebody else in the room and tell them how many hours of sleep you had last night. Good stuff. Okay. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back, everybody. So some of you are underslept, possibly over-caffeinated, and I possibly am going to make you cry before you've had breakfast. Are you guys ready? So I'm going to read you a poem. I'm going to recite a poem, an 18-minute poem by memory. Are you guys ready for this? It is 8:30 in the morning. Woo! No notes. Look at me. Yeah, I'm ready. But I first wanted to just share how this came to life. Do you know how there's experiences that you sign up for that you are expecting to be transformational and profound? Like how many it's on Landmark, or you go to like the Gottmans, personal development. If I were to tell you that we're all going to go to an inner sanctum right now and do adult attachment repair therapy in 20 minutes, you get ready for it, right? And then we have those moments in our life that we are not expecting to be profound and that catch us very offside. And 3 years ago, I signed up for a retreat with Dr. Peter Levine, the founder of Somatic Experiencing. Hands up if you know Peter's work, or SE. And it was in Arizona. And as a facilitator who creates experiences of vulnerability, it only feels fair that once a year, I go make a bunch of prolonged eye contact with a bunch of people that I don't know in the desert. And not Burning Man. No, not Burning Man. This is more intense. It's like a trauma retreat. And there was this day on the retreat that was supposed to be a break. And I was like, great, we're going to go in a pink Jeep to an archaeological site. And I do not need to draw my body with my non-dominant hand, which is going to access my subconscious and show me what I thought of myself when I was 5. Perfect. But I ended up having a deeply profound experience that reshaped my life and how I do business. And the poem that I'm going to share with you today started 3 years ago at an archaeological site. It took me to the Hopi Reservation, where I sat with elders and tracked stories on generosity and how this is still alive today. And this poem is a series of conversations and has been born over the course of 3 years. And today is actually the very first time I'm sharing it with you. So could I have like a little round of applause before I get started? Thank you. So this is called The Keys to the Future Are in the Past, and it's a poem about taking care of people that you will never see again. Shit. What does our world need? I found the answer to that large, gaping question at the bottom of a cliff in Arizona that 344 million years ago was at the bottom of the Pedregosa Sea. It was the home of the Sanawa, the first indigenous community to live in Sedona, dating back to 800 AD. Sanawa means without water. This was their Spanish name. The Hopi, who are believed to be their only known descendants, call them Hisatsanom, which means those that were here before. The Sanawa buried their dead underneath their houses because they believed that while they slept, the wisdom and the stories of their ancestors would come up through the ground, keeping that wisdom alive. What wisdom are we keeping alive? And where are our elders? And what stories are we telling? Stories that distract and entertain. Stories are meant to connect us back to ourselves again. Each year, the Hopi sit in ceremony for 4 days and 4 nights and pray for every person on this planet to get a new life. We even pray for the smallest insect to get a new life. Ronald, a 72-year-old Hopi elder that I sit with, says. I feel that the state of the planet, these natural disasters, tsunamis, it is because of us, he says. It is the responsibility of the Hopi to live in right relation to bring harmony to the world. His head drops as he speaks. He genuinely believes the lack of peace in the world today belongs entirely to the Hopi. Both the Sanawa and the Hopi were a matriarchy. If a man loved a woman, he would first build her a home with prickly pear bushes in the corner, Ronald says. And if I leave my wife with just the shirt on my back. Women here didn't have time for the sagging of their skin, the graying of their hair, or the wrinkles on their face. Women had stories to tell. Women have webs of spirit to weave. Women are the heartbeat our world needs to lead. As I walk through the archaeological site, homes and structures still preserved from 800 AD, I am suddenly stopped in my tracks. I had heard with my mind that we used to live in villages of 100 people. When we would hit 100 people, we would break off and begin a new village. It was understood that we only had the capacity for so many people. 100 relationships. Some of us get 100 emails a day. And as I walked, I felt this truth not with my mind, but in my body of, oh, this is what it would feel like to live with 100 people. As I walked around the corner, I came face to face with a 90-foot red sandstone cliff covered in petroglyphs and pictographs, carvings and stories still preserved from 800 AD. What I heard was, am I telling the right stories? Shamans never used to live in the village. They lived in the mountains because they understood they needed space, silence, and emptiness to receive the dreams and the ideas and stories that people truly needed. And then they would bring those to the people and share it with them. Stories are important. Good stories take discipline. They take time. They take 6 hours walking around a coffee shop, talking to a man that you don't know, and listening to a song sparrow without realizing it's a song sparrow and feeling the softness of the rain as it begins to talk to you. Stories have the ability to save the planet, to be the needle that finds the edges of our differences, only to realize that we are the same. Stories are shaped by what we pay attention to, by what we give our lives to. What are we giving our lives to? As I come around the corner, one symbol catches my eye. He has his arms down, peaceful at his side. And to its left, a circle, and to its right, a warrior. And this one symbol caught my eye because before, the walls had contained lightning deities and warriors, and they were very fierce. And this symbol was really friendly and looked calm. And I asked the guide, what do those three symbols mean? The first, the circle, was their clan symbol. It was to communicate, this is who we are. The Sasquatch type figure was to communicate to anyone passing by, we have more than enough to share. At first, what I heard was generosity and then kindness. When we lived in a smaller village, if you were hungry and I killed a cow, I fed you. And if you harvested vegetables, you shared those with me. There was an understanding that taking care of you was taking care of me. We took care of our elders together, and we raised our children together, passed them down the knees, the nervous system, the voices of many. If your father died, you didn't go to work in fear of missing a mortgage payment. We took care of one whole, and that whole was each other, and it did not contain a me. Just a side footnote, because this poem's really long. I brought this idea to an agent 3 years ago, and she was like, what's the up here, Janne? What do people do with this? And the world has modernized, and we don't live in smaller villages anymore. And at the time, I hadn't quite figured it out, because I don't have any interest in living in a permaculture community off the grid in Austin, like zero interest. But here's how I'm integrating it. I called my business partner after I left the archaeological site, and I said, I've got it. We have to give everything away for free. Generosity is the answer. What? She said. We have to share the cow. And she said, Janne, you sound like you're having a great time on the retreat, but we have salaries to pay. That year, I gave away 70 scholarships. And in the fall, I paid the rent of a man that I didn't know. He was a young musician with big glasses in Tofino, BC. He sang honest songs about things that mattered. When he sang, it was as if his heart was on top of his chest. He didn't have musician swag. He had heart swag, and perhaps that's the only type of swag that we ever really need. One of his songs shared how broke he was, that there was a hole in the ceiling of his trailer, and it had rained for 30 days straight, and there were mushrooms growing on the ceiling. And after his show, I approached him and said, this is going to sound strange, but I believe that your songs are helping people. And when we lived in smaller villages, those that helped to move the group forward were always taken care of. How much is your rent? I asked. $675, he said. I'd like to pay for your rent next month. I was raised by a single mom in Whitehorse in the Yukon. And we were on and off welfare in my childhood. She couldn't afford a babysitter, but luckily she got a job at a local health food store that let her bring me to work, and she would actually breastfeed me as she checked groceries out. We made it into the newspaper for most progressive workplace. And And that worked until I was old enough to walk, and I was pulling more groceries off of the shelves than she could stock. And then the owner took her aside and said, "Louisa, it has been a great run, but I think that it's time." Shortly after, her sister died. And she wasn't okay. We weren't okay. The boyfriend of one of her friends came over one day, gave her $400, and said, "This is not a loan." I want to return to a type of world where this type of action makes sense. Winning the future together means having somebody to share the future with. It's important to take care of your people, and it's important to take care of people that you will never see again. Because many of us are under-resourced, tired, and without water in some shape, form, or another. 8 weeks ago, I flew back to the Hopi Reservation. I wanted to see if this value of generosity was still alive today, because the Sanawa are 800 AD. And after sitting with Ronald, the elder who shared with me that each year the 34 clans of the Hopi come together in a prayer for every person on this planet to get a new life, he turned to me and said, "Janne, you're the clouds. When people like you come to us, you bring us new life. You bring us rain." Next, I sat with Byrne North, an artist and a trickster of sorts. He has coyote energy. "Do you want to go to a dance today?" he asked. "Today there is a ceremony in my village where we dance to keep the culture alive." The next thing I know, I'm being welcomed into one of the humblest and poorest homes that I've ever been in by a local carver, and being fed lunch, meat, bones, and corn by an artist. His mother, children, all living in one single dirt room. As we eat, he shares how many years ago Byrne changed his life, showed him how to carve. To this day, he said, if I have nothing to eat and I show up at his door, he will give me money. And if he does not have money, he will open his fridge and feed me. As I eat, I am mindful of how quickly this man offered me a meal and how little he has. He pulls out a local kachina doll that he's carved, showing it to Byrne. "I'd like to buy that," I say. As I hand him the money, his wife comes up behind me quietly with tears in her eyes and says, "You have no idea what this means to us." As I'm walking back to my car, he places a small feather attached to a string in my hand and says, "You are now a part of my family. For the rest of your life, if you show up at my door, I will give you somewhere to sleep, and I will take care of you." As I get in the car, Byrne says he just adopted you into his family. On the ride home, Byrne shares with me a story. When he was 5, his father dropped him and his mother off at a restaurant, told them to go ahead and order, and never came back. Byrne's mother was pregnant with his sister at the time. The owner of the restaurant realized what had happened, and he took everything that he had, $450 saved for his honeymoon, and he gave it to Byrne's mother. With it, she started their new life. 60 years later, Byrne heard that the man from the restaurant was struggling. He needed $20,000 for a parking lot, or he was going to lose the restaurant. He walked into the restaurant, sat down at the booth, and ordered a coffee from the owner who didn't recognize him. When he left a bag on the seat of the table that had a note, $20,000, and a photograph of him as a little boy. The note said, "I am the little boy in this photograph. 60 years ago, you gave me and my mother a new life. In this bag is the money that you need. You deserve to be okay. You deserve to have enough." As you fall asleep tonight, and for the rest of your life, maybe feeling alone, I want you to know that somebody that you don't know is in a prayer for you to have a new life. Thank you. Thanks so much. And I think that I actually have 30 minutes, but you're looking at me like maybe I don't. Do we still have time? One moment. Is it? We're 2 minutes over. Okay, really quickly then. 7 invitations. I was going to do an activity, but we'll do it later. 7 invitations on how to integrate this into your life. Number 1, take care of people that you will never see again. Know that taking care of you is taking care of me. Number 2, choose 3 to 5 people who light up when you walk into a room. Maybe you're not going to raise their children, but at least don't let them take an Uber to the airport. Number 3, use your gifts. It is a generosity to ourselves and others when we have the courage to use our true gifts. Number 4, ask your grandmother questions. She has made mistakes you do not need to make. And number 5, please share your ideas and art with the world, but don't forget to take time away from the world and the village to receive them. Einstein did not listen to the news, and Frida Kahlo did not have Facebook. And number 6, good marketing is a direct experience of transformation. Your marketing can be a generosity. And if you are a leader of a company, how could you create a culture of generosity? The people that work for you are little plants, and your culture is the environment that they live in. So please don't forget to water your people. I'm Janne Robinson. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys.